Hey, Techno Studs. As much as I like desktops, I really equip most of my employees with laptops instead. And the reason being is it just gives a lot more flexibility. So let's take a look at some of the advantages and disadvantages that a laptop brings. A laptop has a lot of the features and functionalities that a desktop has, but it just fits it in a much smaller package. And there's advantages and disadvantages to this. So what is a laptop? A laptop is a computer small enough to fit on your lap. As simple as that. So an example of this might be the Dell XPS or HP ProBook or MacBook Pro. And the purpose of this is the same thing as the desktop, so we can carry out a lot of the same functionality as a desktop would have. Same OS, so Windows, Linux, Mac OS can all be installed on these, and most of your apps are going to be able to be installed just as long as it's compatible with the operating system. So the big advantage to this is just the portability. That's the huge one. There are other advantages too, like you got a battery on this laptop, so if the power goes out, you're not going to lose all your information. It's going to stay up and running, and you'll have time to close it out. Some drawbacks: they can be more expensive because it's just taking all of these big components and making them much smaller, and there's some engineering problems with that, and there's more limited capacity or availability of parts, and that increases the price to a certain extent. So there's some concerns over that. There's concerns over expandability limitations. So some vendors don't even, once you buy into a certain level, they won't allow you to do upgrades. Macs have some aspects to it that you just can't upgrade. You also have to be concerned about overheating. Even though it says laptop and you can put it on your lap, the thing is you wouldn't want to, because then you block the fans, and then that can cause overheating with those laptops. Don't put it on a pillow. Don't put it on cloth. Don't put it on your bed. Don't operate it without that proper airflow on that device. So it needs to be on hard surfaces to make sure that there's proper airflow. And then the repair of these are more difficult because you're talking about specialized pieces all fit really small into here, and so it's more difficult to take apart and service these. And then of course they're also easier to grow legs and walk off, meaning somebody could steal it very easily. So all they have to do is pick it up and walk out the door. And I've had laptops that have walked out the door, or somebody has stolen them because they were sitting on my desk. Somebody put their laptops on my desk. Somebody else walked by, grabbed them, and just walked out the door. So there's a higher theft with laptops. But laptops are extremely handy and a nice way to be able to have this compute power. So here's an example of a laptop. Of course, we have our screen right here. We have our keyboard. There's a mouse. So this is a touchpad, but it's a mouse right here with the mouse keyboards down here. There's also a mouse joystick that you can use with buttons right here. And so it's got all of the components. Here's the start button right here. It's got all the components that a regular desktop would have. It's just in this smaller form factor. Let's take a look at what this looks like on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this back off, and let's take a look on the inside. The insides, we have a lot of the same components as well. One of them that we don't have on a desktop that we have on here is the battery. So this big black cube right here is the battery. So we've got that. From a CPU or processing standpoint, that's right here under this, looks like it's plastic, but there's a metal underneath here, and this is the heat sink coming off of this. So this is the CPU right here, and then it draws the heat away from it to this fan. And then this fan spins, and this is why we wouldn't want to set this laptop on top of us, because it vents then through the little grates right here. And if we set it on our lap, then it will clog those, and then there won't be a great airflow, and then this chip could overheat and cause damage. So there we have the CPU on here. This is the RAM. So we've got our RAM storage right here. We've got 2 modules in there, or 2 sticks of RAM in there. We also have storage right over here. So this is what's storing data. This is an M2 solid state drive right there. We've got our wireless NIC over here. We've got a built-in NIC And that's what we see right here. This is where this flips down, which allows the RJ45 to slip in there and give it Ethernet connection. And then we see several ports on here that we can slip, like a card reader over here. This looks like a battery right here. So I would imagine that there's a BIOS somewhere in this general facility next to the battery. So we've got BIOS there. And then there are a couple other things, I guess, that desktops don't have, like built-in speakers. So we see built-in speakers. There's an antenna for the wireless that comes up into the screen right here. And then the screen connects right here. This is where all the data for the screen, so it can know what to display on the screen is. So pretty cool to be able to crack one of these open and look at all the little different components here.